Shabbat Shalom, welcome back to part 2 of this week's Torah portion, Va'etchanan, which is Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 23 through 7, verse 11. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention in part 1 is that this week, this Shabbat, is traditionally known as one of the first Shabbats of consolation after Tish B'Av, or the 9th of Av, which is traditionally recognized as the day of the destruction of the temple. Okay, and I highly encourage you guys to go back and check out Rico's Torah portions last year, as he went through a lot of these readings for the Haftorah. And this week's reading is the consolation called Nachamu, which is comfort my people. And the verses for that is Isaiah 40, verses 1 through 26. So I highly recommend that you continue to read those Haftorah portions, even though we don't have enough time to go through those and actually read through all of the verses. It's highly important that you recognize the reasoning behind why we have these 7 Shabbats of consolation. Okay, so I highly encourage you to do that. Now, continuing on with this week's topic, and what we're mainly focusing on is the word Echad and the Shema, and understanding that the Shema has a much more legal concept behind it than just declaring that he's just one Elohim. Okay, it's not meant to be used to go around disproving this or that or that or this, and just using scripture to discredit other things. Yes, we know those things already, but we don't study these things, ladies and gentlemen, so we can become smart. We're trying to study and to share with you these concepts that are understood in the ancient Near Eastern world, so we can leave our Western mindset that we've been stuck in exile for 2,500 years. Okay, so when we begin to realize that the scriptures are written in the context of legal language and covenantal treaties, and the people that they are written to were absolutely understood the context behind this, then we can begin to have a much more appreciation for the structure and the manner in which the scripture is written. Okay, so I hope that you understood everything that we talked about in part 1, and we're going to elaborate that now even more, because in this Torah portion means a lot, and I'm highly humbled that I get to be able to share this with you, because it is the Shema. It is an oath that we are proclaiming with our mouth, twice a day. And we as believers in Messiah, and we've professed with our mouth that Elohim raised Yeshua from the dead. We profess that oath, is we have a mandate that is of the utmost importance to make sure that we are maintaining our walk, and that we are being loyal and loving the King in a manner in which He desires, not just coming up with our own warm, fuzzy ideas and just trying to do this in our own minds. So now that we understand what the word Echad really means and the context behind it, and declaring that it also points back to Elohim's divine integrity, His faithfulness, now we can take a look at Ezekiel chapter 37. Okay, and I want to do that first because I think it's going to enhance our understanding even farther than we've been taught in the past. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 37. We're going to read through the whole chapter and elaborate on some verses. Okay, now this is good. The structure of these chapters of Ezekiel is talking about the restoration of Israel, okay, later on in the end times. Okay, so the hand of Yah was upon me, and took me out by the Spirit of Yah, and set me down in the midst of the valley, and was filled with bones. And He made me pass among them all around, and see, there were very many on the surface of the valley, and see, they were very dry. And He said to me, Son of man, would these bones live? And I said, O Master Yah, you know. Again He said to me, prophesy to these bones, and you shall say to them, O dry bones, hear, Shema, the word of Yah. Wow, I had no idea until now that was in there. Shema, the word of Yah. I want to look that up in the Hebrew real quick. Let's go to the King James Version. real quick. Take a look at some King Jimmy and see what it says. Shema, Strong's H8085. The word, the bar, and it has the name Yah. So you have the Shema right there. Wow, that's amazing. I really had no idea when I was studying this and preparing for this that verse was actually said Shema, Shema, the word of Yah. That's awesome. Verse 5. Thus said the Master Yah to these bones, see, I am bringing you into a spirit, and you shall live. And I shall put sinews on you, and bring flesh upon you, and cover you with the skin, and put a spirit in you, and you shall live. And you shall know that I am Yah. And I prophesied, and I was commanded. And I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and there was a rattling. And the bones come together, bone to bone. And I looked and saw sinew, and flesh came upon them. And skin covered them, but there was no spirit in them. He then said to me, prophesy to the spirit, prophesy, son of man, and you shall say to the spirit, thus says the Master, thus says Adonai Zephaot, come from the four winds, O spirits, and breathe on these slain, so that they live. And I prophesied as he commanded me, and the spirit came into them, and they lived, and they stood upon their feet, a very great army. And he said to me, son of man, these bones are all the house of Israel. So see, he's bringing into fruition the promise that he made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, keeping the oath that he made, saying that he was going to bring Israel back even after the rebellious state. Okay, this is linked directly back to his faithfulness. See, they say, our bones are dry, our expectancy has perished, and we ourselves have been cut off. Therefore prophesy, and you shall say to them, thus says the Master Yah, see, O my people, I am opening your graves, and shall bring you up from your graves, and shall bring you into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yah your Elohim. You shall know that he is loyal to what he has spoken, that he is Echad. His divine integrity has always been intact. When I open your graves, O my people, and bring you up from your graves, and I shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall settle in your own land, and you shall know that I, Yah, have spoken, and I have done it, declares Yah. And the word of Yah came to me, saying, now here, this is where it gets interesting. This is where we're going to link the word Echad to this concept. And the word of Yah came to me, saying, and you, son of man, take a stick for yourself, and write on it, for Yehudah, and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write on it, for Yosef, the stick of Ephraim. So here we have the southern kingdom has the one stick, because they were put in exile, because they were not faithful to the covenant. The northern kingdom was sent into exile and dispersed, still dispersed, never have returned, for their unfaithfulness to the covenant. So he's having them write the names of those of Yehudah and Ephraim on the sticks, and for all the house of Israel his companions. Then bring them together for yourself into one stick. 37:17. If we go to the King Jimmy and check it out, the word for one is translated as Echad, right? And the word for stick is etz, which also can mean tree. It should be translated as tree in my mind. And they shall become one, Echad, in your hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto you, oh, we're still in King Jimmy. I need to switch back. I can't do the these, thous, and unto, and it just doesn't make any sense. And then you bring them together for yourself into one stick, into etz echad, and they shall become echad in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, won't you show us what you mean by these? Say to them, thus says Adonai Zephaot, see, I am taking the stick of Yosef, the tree of Yosef, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his companions, and I shall give them unto him with the stick, the etz, the tree of Yehuda, and make them etz echad, one tree, and they shall be echad in my hand, in Yah's hand. And the sticks on which you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And speak to them, thus says Adonai Zevaot, see, I'm taking the children of Israel from among the Gentiles, from amongst exile, from amongst the dispersion, wherever they have gone, and shall gather them from all around, and shall bring them into their land which he had promised to whom? To Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, he walked through the pieces. So he has to keep his promise, he has to keep his oath, regardless of how unfaithful we are. Okay? So this is amazing how all of this stuff ties in together just with one verse in Deuteronomy 6:4, just with the Shema that we profess twice a day, with understanding that Echad is directly linked to his faithfulness. It's directly linked to Genesis 15. All the covenants are still intact. They overlap each other. They're interwoven amongst each other. Where do we leave off here? And I shall make them, verse 22, and I shall make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel, and one sovereign shall be sovereign over them. Who is that? That's Yeshua. That's the vassal king, Yeshua, our Messiah, who will be the king over us, who will be king over the entire world in the millennial reign. And let them no longer be two nations, and let them no longer be divided into two reigns. Now that's also, that terminology is not just talking about them being two distinct nations. Now I understand that that's directly linked to don't let them be two nations that are unfaithful. Okay, don't let them be like the Gentiles and like the pagans. Verse 33, and they shall no longer defile themselves, and here it is, with their idols, nor with their disgusting matters, nor with any of their transgressions. And I shall save them from all their dwelling places in which they have sinned. And I shall cleanse them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. While David, my servant, is sovereign over them. That's a direct reference to Yeshua HaMashiach. And they shall all have one shepherd. I want to see if that word is echad. Going back to King Jimmy. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. This is revolutionary to our understanding. I personally believe that it is, and I hope that you guys do too. And there it is. In the Strong's, the word for one shepherd is echad. And is directly linked to having a faithful king. Not like the kings of the past. This king will be utterly faithful to Elohim in keeping the same covenant and being as faithful as Elohim has been, which is we know that's Yeshua. That's amazing. Verse 25, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Yaakov my servant, where your fathers dwelt, and they shall dwell in it, they and their children's children forever, and my servant David be their prince forever. Remember, that word for prince there means that he's going to be the vassal king to the suzerain king, Yah. Verse 26, and I shall make a covenant of peace with them, an everlasting covenant it is with them, and I shall place them and increase them, and shall place my Kodesh place in their midst forever. And my dwelling place shall be over them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And the Gentiles shall know that I, Yah, am setting Israel apart when my Kodesh place is in their midst forever. So even in verse 28 right there, he's saying, and he's going back to the oath that he made with the forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we see all the promises that he gives us are always linked to that promise. They're always linked back to his integrity, which is so much greater than ours, because we fail. Now, another amazing part of that is now that we understand what the word echad means, when we've seen it was meant for one king will rule over them, that's directly linked to a faithful king. But now we know that it's not just one tree. Okay, when he mentions when he mentions them as two distinct nations, that's that's a direct reference to them being unfaithful nations. But now when they become one tree, one nation, and it's Echad, that means that they will be faithful. And that when they are faithful, they are proclaiming to the world, Shema Yisrael, Shema to the whole world, that Yah is Elohim, Yah is Echad, that He is faithful to His promise. So now the context is that they will be a faithful tree. They will be a faithful nation. See how it takes on a completely deeper understanding than just saying that they're going to be one tree or one nation? It means much, much, much more than that, because when Israel is one nation, is then the world will see that Elohim has kept His promises all the way back from the beginning. Okay, now let's move on to John chapter 17, because now this is going to even enhance understanding the ruling and sovereignty that Elohim has on the earth, and that we can understand the role of Messiah better. Now let's go to John chapter 17. Now, this is a pretty amazing chapter, because this is when Yeshua is praying to the Father for all of us. Okay, now verse 1, it says, Yeshua said these words and lifted his eyes to heaven and said, Abba, the hour has come, esteem your Son, so that your Son also might esteem you. So he wants Elohim to esteem him, because when he's esteeming Yeshua, that's going to bring to mind the sovereignty and the faithfulness of the Father. Okay, as you have given him authority over all flesh, that he should give everlasting life to all whom you have given him. And this is everlasting life, and they should know you, the only true Elohim. That's a direct reference to the Shema, and Yeshua Messiah, whom you have sent. I have esteemed you on the earth, having accomplished the work you have given me that I should do. So Yeshua, everything that Yeshua did was in perfect line, step for step, within the confines of Yah the Father, Yah the Suzerain's commandments, and the plan that He had for Yeshua on the earth. And now esteem me with yourself, Abba, with the esteem which I had with you before the world was. So it's talking about He was faithful before the world was. Okay, it's understanding His role. It doesn't have anything to do with the deity of Yeshua at this point. I have revealed your name to the men whom you gave me out of the world. They were yours, and you gave them to me, and they have guarded your word. Now they have come to know that all you gave to me is from you, because the words which you gave to me, the contract, the treaty, the covenant, I have given to them, and they have received them, and have truly known that I came forth from you. So now they know, that the Talmudim and the people know that Yeshua comes from the Father, and they're being loyal to Him because He is that vassal king that we just read about, even though He hasn't ruled and reigned on the earth yet. Okay? Because they're being loyal to Him because they understand that He is going to be that king on the earth later on, and that He has come from the Father. Because the words which you gave to me I have given to them, and they have received them, and have truly known that I come forth from you, and they believe that you sent me. They believe that He is the messenger, that the great king, remember in the ancient world, is that the suzerain king, when they went to proclaim certain things to nations or had to go be ambassadors, is they sent messengers, and that messenger had all the authority of the higher suzerain king, and nobody could take that authority away from him. I pray for them. I do not pray for the world, for those that are outside, but for those whom you have given me, for they are yours. These are the ones that are faithful to Him, proclaiming that He's Echad, that He is faithful. And all are mine, and all mine are yours, and yours are mine. And I have been esteemed in them. And I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to you. Set apart, Father, guard them in your name which you have given me, so that they might be one. You seeing it? Are you starting to see it? Now I want to see what this is in the Greek real quick. Going back to King Jimmy. Now the word for one is I see. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. No, it's not. G1520, it is heis. A primary numeral, one, abundantly man, one another, only, other, some. See, this is why we can't just rely, ladies and gentlemen, on the Strong's or some of these other dictionaries, because they don't understand or they don't give you the complete understanding of the concept behind how it was understood at the time the words are being used. So this is why we have these translation errors, and being so far removed from the ancient world is we have to go back to the culture. We have to go back to the time in which they were written and understood. So now we can see, I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to you. Kodesh Abba, guard them in your name, which you have given them, so that they might be one as we are one. It doesn't have anything to do with Trinitarian issues, guys. It's about being faithful. When I was with them in the world, I was guarding them in your name, which you have given me. And I watched over them, and not one of them perished except the son of destruction, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And now I come to you, and I speak these words in the world, so that they have my joy completed in them. I have given them your word. See, this is amazing, because this takes on the complete understanding of how messengers were sent into the world, and now he's giving the report back to the suzerain. I mean, this is amazing to me. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the wicked one. They are not of the world, as I am not of the world. Set them apart in your truth. And you, as you sent me into the world, I also sent them into the world. And for them I set myself apart, so that they too might be set apart in truth. And I do not pray for these alone, but also for those believing in me through their word. This is us, ladies and gentlemen. So that they might be one, so that we may all be echad, and we may be faithful. We don't have to be all dispersed and going after other deities anymore, guys. It's about us being faithful. And when we're faithful, we are proclaiming, we are walking the Shema. We are proclaiming to the world that he is echad, because we believe in the promises that he said that he was going to do to those who are loyal to him. So that they might be as one, as you, Abba, are in me, and I in you. So that they too might be one in us. It's about us being faithful, about being that faithful tree. And the esteem which you gave me. Oh, wait a second, I didn't finish the verse in 21. So that the world might believe that you have sent me. You see? So the world might believe, because if the people are one, if the people are declaring that he is echad and walking faithfully and loyally according to the legality of the Constitution of Israel, then the world will see, hey, this one true Elohim, he is faithful. He does have the integrity that he proclaims to have, because we could see it through history, that he brought the people back. The promises were fulfilled. Man. And esteem which you gave me, I have given them, so that they might be one as we are one. I and them, and you and me, so that they may be perfected into one. So they may be perfected into faithfulness. Wow. So that the world knows that you have sent me, and have loved them as you have loved me. Abba, I desire that those whom you have given me might be with me where I am, so that they see my esteem which you have given me, which the great king gives the suzerain, or the great king gives the vassal king, gives the messenger. Because you loved me, you were loyal to me. The Father was loyal to the pre-existent Yeshua before the foundation of the world. So you're understanding perfect hierarchy here. This enhances our understanding to the role of Mashiach prior to him coming to the earth. All righteous Father, indeed the world did not know you, but I knew you. The world was not loyal to you, Abba, but I, Yeshua, was loyal to you. And these knew that you sent me. And I have made your name known to them, and shall make it known, so that the love in which you loved me, so that the loyalty in which he was loyal to Yeshua might be in them, might be in us, and I in them. Ladies and gentlemen, that just takes on so much more significance. Just by understanding the one word Achad in the Shema that we are professing each and every day, twice a day, and as believers of Messiah, we have no need to argue. We have no need to bicker. Ladies and gentlemen, the mandate has been up to a level in which, as ambassadors, we need to make sure that we are being loyal and faithful at all times. Amen. Now, I want to close this out with the final verses in this Torah portion, Va'etchanan, so we could see that the Shema is actually found again in Deuteronomy chapter 7. Okay, let's go there. And beginning, well, let's just read all of it. It's only 11 verses. When Yah, your Elohim, brings you into the land, when He fulfills His promise according to His divine integrity, being faithful, being Achad, He shall also clear away many nations before you, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when Yah, your Elohim, gives them over to you, you shall smite them and put them under the ban completely. Make no covenant with them, and show them no favor. Do not intermarry with them, and do not give your daughter to his son, and you do not take his daughter for your son. Where he turns your sons away from following me, from being faithful to being unfaithful, to serve other mighty ones. Then the displeasure of Yah shall burn against you and promptly destroy you. But this is what you do to them: break down their altars, smash their pillars, and cut down their asherim, and burn their carved images with fire. For you are a set-apart people to Yah your Elohim. Yah your Elohim has chosen you to be a people for yourself, a treasured possession above all the peoples of the face of the earth. He's calling us to be faithful so the world will see He is faithful. And here it is. Check this out. Yah did not set His love on you, His loyalty on you, nor choose you because you were more numerous than any other people, for you were the least of all the peoples. But because of Yah loving you and being loyal to you, and because of Him guarding the oath in which He swore to your fathers, Yah has brought you out with a strong hand and redeemed you from the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim. So you see, it's all in context. He's pointing it right back to the oath in Genesis 15. This is the context of the Shema. And you shall know that Yah your Elohim, He is Elohim. Yahu Ha-Elohim. The trustworthy El, guarding covenant and kindness for 1,000 generations with those who love Him, with those who are loyal to Him, and those who guard His commands. This is the ultimate outer expression of love we can give to Him, ladies and gentlemen, is by being loyal to Him, because by being loyal to Him is we're proclaiming to the world that He is the faithful Elohim. There is no other. But repaying those who hate Him to their face to destroy them, He does not delay to do so with him who hates Him, who is disloyal to Him. He repays him to his face. And you shall guard the command and the laws and the right rulings which I command you today to do them. Amen and amen. Well, that concludes everything that I wanted to cover in this week's Torah portion, and I pray that this was a blessing to you. And I know we covered a lot of material and it was a lot of reading, but we actually didn't even continue to read through the whole part of that article that I really wanted to go back. So I encourage you guys to go back and reread that article, study those verses, and let me know what you think. If you have any questions concerning this, please feel free to ask and leave comments on the website, or you can call me, email me, anything. Okay? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notah b'tokena Baruch atah Adonai. Noten HaTorah. Blessed are you, Adonai Eloheinu, King of the universe. You have given us the Torah of truth and planted within us everlasting life. Blessed are you, Adonai, giver of the Torah. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for taking time to join me this week while Rico's been gone. I've really enjoyed being able to share with you. I pray that you have a blessed week, and Rico will be back with you next week, and Shabbat Shalom.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar v'kodesh. Say